Hey everybody, it's Rob here coming to you today with a little bit of a different format as I'm still traveling and currently in Los Angeles testing new Diablo 4 content. Today we got a ton of news for the upcoming Season 10 PTR, which starts next week with a bunch of chaos unleashing and a ton of class changes as well as the new seasonal powers. Let's get into it. Here's the full blog post. I'm also going to link that below. PTR starts August 19th, lasts until the 22nd. And here we get to the juicy part. Infernal Hordes Reborn. We get a new Infernal Horde boss, Bartok. We got the Chaos Rifts. We got Wield Chaos perks. We got new unique items for each class. We got offering for testing, like improving the PTR vendor a lot. The PTR boost vendor is also going to be available instantly. And we got full patch notes with new uniques for each class and the class balance stuff coming here. So first of all, we have the Infernal Hordes. There's basically going to be more waves. Like the waves are going to be like juicier. You're going to have a ton of like different opportunities with the different boons and banes you can take. Chaos waves, and then we have this like new boss at the end, which basically is like you double down. Like you basically need to have like a big payment to even access him. And then you get to like beat the boss and get a ton of rewards from this Bartok beacons here. Like big boss fight. I'm pretty sure this guy is going to be like pretty tough. Maybe like on the caliber of a Belial fight or something like that. So I think that's going to be quite a juicy foe that we then have to beat. Very important that each member of the party has to pay, so you can't leech, just like with the layer boss system. I think really cool changes. And yeah, looking at the artwork here, I'll probably throw it up like a full screen. Like it looks fantastic. And then one of the rewards, and I think in general, the entire season theme revolves around these Chaos Armors here. These are like a brand new uniques. You can kind of see it here. The Banished Lord Talisman and various other uniques, we have like a full list, can now turn into the 5 different armor slots that we have. It's basically going to inherit the same stats, and it's also going to inherit the affix. So you can technically get Banished Lord Talisman on your boots, giving you a 1.6 multiplier, and also giving you core skills on your boots, etc., etc., as well as 30 always implicit. So even the implicit is carrying over. And you can wear up to like 5 of this, which is going to be pretty wild, I think. And in general, it feels like there's going to be a ton of power creep in this entire season here. This is the Chaos Armor. Helm, chest, gloves, pants slot. It's also going to compete with the Uber Uniques finally. So, we're not going to always play Shaco, or we're not going to always play the Shroud, but we might, take the Fist of Fate on the Helm slot as well, because that's going to be also one of these chaos uniques that are going to be possible. You can't stack, that's very important. So you can't go like double Fist of Fate, for example, like playing the normal Fist of Fate and then also getting, like another Fist of Fate on your helm or on your boots. So that doesn't work. But I think in particular, like the boot slot is going to be pretty wild and then pretty crazy for almost all the classes, basically getting an extra multiplier there. You can kind of see some of the more examples here. We have the Ophidian Iris as well on the Sorcerer. Like this is the Hydra amulet. So you can probably play on the Hydra sword. You can play the Ophidian Iris on the boots, let's say, and then still you can run the Serpentine aspect, where you like scale your Hydra with your mana on the amulet slot, giving it another 1.5 multiplier, and you're pretty much not losing anything on the Ophidian Iris because it even carries the inherits here. So that's gonna be pretty crazy. Like crazy stuff here, all the uniques. So like a bunch of strong multipliers. I'm just gonna like quickly mention the strongest ones. I think Banished Lord's Talisman is gonna be insane. Lucion has a lot of potential as well. And then Fist of Fate, obviously like super strong to have that on the boot slot or something. And Lockrans maybe has a bit of a merit, but overall I think these are like the generic multipliers that are strong. Like, I mean, just getting like Fist of Fate is crazy. And then like you have like different classes here. So quickly going over Barbarian, what I think can be really strong here overall is, for example, the Red Furor Ring. Because as far as I know, there's like not a nerf to Mighty Throw in this patch notes here. So getting that like a slot open and basically like using boots for a multiplier, getting like the Banished Lords or the Red Furor on the boots, and then getting like opening up more slots, getting like bigger multipliers. There's also Ugly Bastard here as a generic multiplier, like super strong, a ton of different stuff here. Also some cool stuff for the bleed builds. Yeah, Druid has a ton of stuff as well. Tempest Roar in particular, you can finally play like a Shaco and a Tempest Roar if you want. Necromancer is also looking like pretty juicy, especially like seeing on some classes like having like the big two-handed weapons here, or here like the Word of Harkan on the Rogue is also insane. I think like in particular like the two-handed slots are gonna be absolutely wild. Ophidian Iris, Fractured Winterglass is very insane. Also freeing up the amulet slot like that, having another one possible. And keep in mind, this not only does free up the slot, for example, on a weapon. I've seen on Barb like there's Overkill, or on Spiritborn, for example. You have the Rod of Kepeleke that you can now run on your boots, which is completely wild. And then you can still run, like your redirected force, like big multiplier on the two-hander, still getting like a ton of damage bonuses like that, and benefiting a lot from the Temperers. And you probably also have the double cast from the Rod of Kepeleke, as well as the maximum resources, like now on your boots, for example, and you can still have like a crazy weapon. And especially for builds like Spiritborn, where you're like using like one big two-hander, like that seems like extremely powerful. I think Druid comes to mind as well. I think on Druid there's the Pulverize unique, like that's gonna be completely wild as well. Where do we have it? Right here. The Rotting Lightbringer, there it is. So you don't even have to have the Rotting Lightbringer on a two-hander. You just put it on your boots, and then you put another big multiplier and like, chance for Pulverize to hit twice or something on the weapon, which is going to be completely wild. So I think this is going to be a crazy amount of power creep basically entering into the game. And also these powers are going to be 20% more potent. So it's going to be even crazier, man, than what we think. So that's going to be completely wild in terms of content. And then next we have the power part of the seasonal theme. Like people make fun of it all the time, but I really like that there's like always like some sort of like power progression with the theme. So this is like how it will look like. There's like a ton of different stuff that you can choose from, and I think the artwork looks really cool. And they're basically going to be obtained in these like Seal Chaos Rifts. They're gonna like spawn all over Sanctuary basically. Like you can get this like in a ton of different ways in the open world. Helltide is gonna be very nice for this, and yeah, like get some of these crazy chaos perks. And there are some pretty sick ones. There's like generic ones, and there's class specific ones. And you can always have like different rarities here. And you can only equip, as you can see here, like basically 4 in total at a time. Either way, this is going to be like tremendously powerful, because there's like some really ridiculous effects here. I'm just going to like highlight a few here. So some of the generic ones that are like pretty wild. There's also like the unique ones that go pretty crazy. For example, here, like one that's buffing your like core skills, but then also having like a bit of a kiss and a curse effect, where it's giving you a big multiplier. I would assume this is like X, so this is like double damage for all the core skills. Barb is rejoicing a bit, and other classes as well. But it also like, has a negative effect where it reduces like your like maximum resources or something. But still, like the power creep that we're gonna get with all of this is gonna be completely wild. And yeah, like especially here, this reminds me a lot of D3, like where you also like turn your potion here, like your healing potion is infused with the power of chaos, granting like basically like a free spamming of all skills, like no resource cost anymore, 100% reduction, 80% attack speed, 80% movement speed for 4 seconds. Like that's gonna be like a pretty wild boost to a lot of classes. And like here, Chaos Unleashed, also like doing like these chaos bursts. I'm gonna be very excited like how this is gonna be on the PTR. And then yeah, like here's another one, like a very interesting mechanic here, like double over power damage, triple the life, healing received, like also like for like a negative effect, where you're basically like going like a bit more like a offensive side, and then like reducing like your rest and your armor and stuff like that. So I think that's going to be very exciting. Like here's one of them in action on the Rogue, and you can see like all the different stuff. Quickly like chatting over a few of them on the Barb side here. So Raging Chaos, like it's going to be pretty wild. Again, like buffing the core skills even further. I'm really hoping like core skills with all this are going to be pretty juicy. There's also some core buffs like further down below here. And then some stuff like here that has potential, but I still think needs some tuning, like single-minded. Basically, if you only have one weapon equipped on the Barb, so this is like fully like going into like the big two-hander playstyle or something like that. You actually gain like a big damage bonus and overpowered chance. pretty curious to see how that's going to work, because baseline you only have 3% and getting to like 43 suddenly. That sounds pretty wild for builds that can't, like baseline overpower and don't have a good overpower source. That could be very nice. But overall, I think the number is a bit too low because it's like competing with a ton of slots. There was also one here for the shouts, like your equipped shouts are always active, so you don't even have to press them. And they also increase their potency or increase their effects for like the negative side of like reducing your fury. But there's going to be some pretty wild stuff like throughout all the classes. Like obviously we're going to be testing all this and checking them out here on the PTR, which is going to be pretty wild next week. I think there's like a ton of stuff here. Also like one that I wanted to highlight here is on the Sorcerer, you have Mana Shield. And I think this one has potential to be like crazy broken. Like if you look at this here, 99% reduced mana. So like for those of you who play T2, it's like Energy Shield basically. Like your mana is now your life pool and you only have 1 life. But also it has this crazy effect where your mana generation is increased by 5,000% if you've not taken damage. And that's a crazy number. You also get like a multiplicative mana. And then this is the craziest part. 1 point of mana per intelligence. So I don't know, like builds usually are running around with like somewhere between like 3,000 and 5,000 intelligence in the end game. So that means you get 5,000 mana base, like 5, and then you get like times 400%. And I don't know, but that's like completely like nuts, because like that's gonna be like 5 times, that's like 25,000 mana. And is that gonna be like, you have 25,000 mana, and then you have aspects like the Serpentine aspect from the Hydra. There's a nerf to it, but it's not even close enough. Like if you have like 20,000 mana, or you also have the aspect of adaptability that might make like, Arclash builds or like, some of those like basic skills like super insane on the sword without spending all the mana, right? So I think this Mana Shield unique with the way we can scale damage with max mana has like crazy potential to be like giga busted and giga cooked. And there's a ton of more stuff. And quickly going over some of the new uniques as well. And I believe the way I understood it, these new uniques are also all gonna be chaos uniques that you can get, again, on your boots. You can get them on all the armor slots basically. So this new one here is a weapon. But keep in mind, again, you can get this weapon on your boots if you want. So that's pretty crazy. Pretty cool stats here, like core skill, warpath, like good multiplier, very good stats. And then unique power here, very interesting for the walking arsenal and in general for barbs, where you gain more increased damage for every like active skill you have on your bar. Like, so this is like, I guess, trying to break up the triple shout meta a little bit. I think it can succeed because it's a pretty big damage multiplier, and you get even more damage multiplier if you actually like use those skills. So a ton of interesting stuff on the barb. Druid's also getting some stuff here for the Ravens, for Necro. I haven't really like checked all of this like in detail yet, but I'm pretty sure there's like a ton of cool stuff. I think, yeah, here Sorcerer is getting like a pretty crazy ring that is even competing with Tarasha ring, where your lightning like emits crackling energy, and you also deal like a 1.6x multiplier. And again, you can put this, you can still play the Tarasha ring, you can still play Stardust Sky, and you just put this ring on your boots or like maybe on your like pants or wherever you want to put it, right? Like we'll figure this out, and that's gonna be pretty wild. Also a new unique for the Spiritborn with Protector, getting some juice to Gorilla skill. In general, Gorilla skills, especially like Crushing Hands, is getting like, I think like almost double damage or something from what it is right now. The PTR boost vendor is gonna be available right from the start. And they also like juice the quality of life a lot, so you only get like the generic uniques are always going to be ancestral, and just like a ton of like different stuff here. Like obviously they want to provide like want us to provide a lot of feedback, so I highly encourage everybody to test this. Unfortunately, this is always like PTR PC Battle.net only, so you can't play this on your PlayStation or on your Xbox. But still, like there's going to be a lot of people like jumping in. And there's also some like, fixes here to like the crazy stuff here on Spiritborn, for example, the Jaguar. We already know like this is like double dipping forever, and they actually like removing some of the double dipping here with the Plains Power, which was one of the like worst offenders. And there's like a ton of buffs like throughout the board. You can see here like Crushing Hands gets basically double damage. Quill Volley gets a bit of a nerf here, but the aspect is getting a buff on Quill Volley, and I think overall, like Quill Volley is not really, I think there was another buff, so Quill Volley is not really using, like, losing that much damage. I think the Kepeleke here is also getting a buff somewhere, so I think we're gonna be, like, very fine with all of this. Yeah, Vengeance, Wild Claws. Like here, there's a ton of buff here. Like you see Kepeleke and Ebevaka are getting buffs. So even if Quill Volley is a bit reduced, I think like the supporting legendaries are being juiced and are going even crazier, right? And then Paragon fixes as well. Quickly covering Barb here as well in a bit more detail. Just always interested in that. Scrolling a bit down here. They're actually like starting to change some expertise stuff, so that's gonna be like looking forward to, you know, remove some of those like conditions that we have here. It's gonna be very nice. Something like small quality of life stuff to kick. Some small quality of life and small buffs to like the key passives, Walking Arsenal, Umbrella Rage, all getting a small buff. Some multipliers here, very cool. Again, like we talked about so many core skill buffs. We're getting like a core skill buff here to Hoda, the Ancestral Force, where like the Hoda is like quaking. We're getting some bleed buffs here to the Warden Rupture, also helping with the duration. We're getting Ariad's Bearing buff, Battle Trance, like the Frenzy playstyle is getting buffed. We're getting like, again, core skill here. Hellhammer is getting juiced, but it also gives a multiplier now, so that's gonna be pretty nice to see. And then here, like this is like such a W, like the Paragon board on Barb, like finally we're not pigeonholed into the 5 of the same boards, like we're actually getting Flawless Technique doing like some stuff now. We're getting a damage multiplier. Carnage is getting some help with attack speed, and in general, also like this was one of my feedback in the video I made yesterday already, that Barb has like basically a struggle to like you know, get the all res. So I feel like there's a good chance like they're listening like to this like feedback here, and you see like we're already getting like 3% more all res to all the stuff here coming on the PTR rather than just fire res. Because on Barb, solving fire res is so easy because you have the Ugly Bastard, you have the Red Furore in the current meta, and just getting all res is really, really cool. I'd also love to see, you know, the starter board getting all res instead of armor. But yeah, like this is already like a big step for the Barb to like, you know, fix some of the all res problems that it has, and having like basically extra tools to like fix that. Pretty comfortable. And then yeah, guys, there's a ton of more stuff here. Like I highly encourage you like reading through all this. I think one more thing that I wanted to mention, because many people asked me already, is like there's some nerfs to the Hydro Sorcerer. Also like a lot of buffs here and there are like happening. But I think like Sorcerer and in general the power level is gonna be so crazy that even if we're gonna see, you know, some of the nerfs here, Serpentine Aspect, like we're talking about potentially having 20,000 mana, you know, and 20,000 times 0.5% or 0.75 if you're putting it on Amulet is still insane, you know, and Hydra is like super strong, super crazy build. And I think it's going to remain some of the, like, you know, top contending builds here, even though we're seeing like some nerfs here to the Sorc. But like in the end, I think the Hydra Sorc is going to be stronger than on live server. Like, especially with having like extra multipliers, like, you know, on boots, extra multipliers on the armor slots. Like, I think it's going to be pretty wild. And yeah, my friends, that has pretty much been the patch notes. I'm still going to be traveling for quite a while, like, because right after the Los Angeles trip here, I'm going to Gamescom Cologne, and that's going to be like right around the same time as this PTR launches next week on Tuesday. So I'm probably going to be missing like the first couple of days of the PTR to be at Gamescom. If you guys like, you know, want to hang out, you want to come to Cologne to Gamescom, feel free to say hi. I'll be there on Thursday for sure. And like hanging out with some of you and like, you know, seeing all the new stuff and all the upcoming games. I'm super hyped. Let me know what you think. I'm probably also going to be starting to cook some planners here for mobile. Once we have the planner websites updated, we're going to like start cooking, especially some bar builds, maybe even a couple of Sorc builds here and there, because like that mana shield stuff really excites me. I hope you're having a fantastic day, guys. And yeah, I can't wait to log in and see all the stuff that's coming soon. TM, my friends. Take it easy. GG. Bye-bye.
If you like this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like or a comment. I'm also live on Twitch almost every day, so come and say hi.